it was an interesting thing. The whole idea that I wanted to approach this storytelling from was different than I think I've ever done before, and that was kind of the idea. Was at least starting from Kill Bill, the last few movies I've done, the scripts have been these kind of big, unwieldy novels written in screenplay form that I have no intention of, I'm gonna shoot this entire crazy opus and have it play in theaters. But they worked really good as a piece of literature. Then I would take them on the set and then just kind of adapt this crazy novel into a movie every day. I don't recommend anybody do movies that way, but it's kind of worked for me, and I think it's a pretty creative way of working. But the point being is, during the writing, it was this long process that would start at the beginning and I would end at the end. And then I would say I was done. And then we would end up by pretty much going into pre-production fairly shortly afterwards, because I don't have to really sell my movies that much. People do want to make them. So I get them done and we go right into it for the most part. And but on this one, I decided to do it differently. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to do 3 different drafts of the script before I would actually say it's done and kind of let it loose in the world. And the idea was to spend time with the material and to see what that did to the material, and to tell the story 3 different times and see what I learned from that, and to see if there was any depth that came from that. And so, when I do the first draft, for example, I don't have to do everything that I wanted to do. I can just figure it out. I can get around to it. Maybe I'm not ready to inject the through line all the way through, but I'm just going to touch on it in the first one, and maybe I'll deal with it more in the second one. A good example of that is the Lincoln letter, which ends up being in a very important thread that runs throughout the film to such an important degree it's actually touched on at the very end. In the first draft, it was brought up once. It was brought up in the stagecoach when John Ruth reads it, and then that's it. And I even remember my agent, Mike Simpson, reading the script and goes, that Lincoln letter is a really neat idea. I think you really should do a little bit more with that. I go, well, I intend to. I haven't quite figured it out yet, and I didn't want to lurch for it. There was no lurching in these versions. It was just kind of everything in its own time. But then what ended up happening is I gave the first draft out to just a few friends, and somebody leaked it in the town. And I got very upset by that, because, like I said, I wanted to I had an interesting end of the first draft, but it wasn't the end. It was just a end, but that was the idea behind it. So I was very distraught that this work that was almost the point of it was that it was not finished would be out there. Having said that, I decided to, I'm stuck in that situation. That is the way it is. So I tried to make the best of it. Then, since the cat's out of the bag a little bit, and I wrote the movie for a lot of the actors that ended up being in the film, I go, let's do a script reading of it. Let's actually read the piece out loud. And so we, through my friend Elvis Mitchell, through LACMA, Los Angeles County Museum of Art, we did a script reading of the film for a crazy amount of people. I'm I can't remember how many it was, 1,100, 900, something like that. Anyway, we did a script reading, and the response was really good. And the actors had a fun time. I had a fun time working with them before the script reading, during the reading. And what it ended up doing was giving us confidence in the material. And that really helped the 70 millimeter idea that I'd kind of had all along.